Hey, my name's Ben. I'm a trail runner in Adelaide, South Australia. Most of the videos on this channel are to do with my journey toward making an attempt on the Bob Graham Round, a mountain running challenge in the northwest of England, which I'm attempting in June this year. But today I want to introduce you to the Backyard Everest. It's a world first event taking place here in Adelaide in September of this year. For those who aren't familiar, Backyard Ultras are events that have become increasingly popular in recent years. They involve a 6.7 kilometer loop, and you have to run one lap every hour on the hour. And you keep going, runners keep going for as many laps as they can. Why is it 6.7 kilometers? Because if you keep going for 24 hours, if you do 24 laps, then you've covered a distance of 100 miles. Now, that is not the end of the event. There is no finish line. The event keeps going until there's only one runner left. And I love the psychology of the event. The world record is something insane, like 119 laps, almost 800 kilometers. It's held by an Australian, Phil Gore, which is great. The Backyard Everest is a little bit different. There is a 24-hour cutoff. The lap is a little bit shorter, 5.3 kilometers rather than the 6.7, but significantly each lap contains 369 meters of climbing. And that means if you keep going a lap every hour for 24 hours, then you'll climb the equivalent of the height of Everest. The other difference with the Backyard Everest is that you don't have to do one lap every hour. You're allowed to take a break for an hour or two or six and then come back and do a bit more and just see how many laps you can do within the 24-hour period. And I love how they've set it up so that they've got different mountains around the world. So if you complete 16 laps, then you've climbed the height of Mount Kilimanjaro, and 6 laps, which is what I'm doing today, well, that's the height of Mount Kosciuszko. So let me show you the course. And I love that the start of the course is at the end of Everest Avenue. How cool is that? So it starts off on this really quite pleasant grassy track, which is definitely joggable, but don't let that deceive you, because that's where we're going, up to the summit of Black Hill in the distance. So you continue on this track, gently undulating for about 650 meters. You then get to the start of the climb up to Black Hill, and it's about 300 meters of ascent over a distance of about 1.5 kilometers, so an average of 20% gradient. And the climb starts off with this section of sandy gravel track that transitions into this rocky path, which is definitely joggable in some sections, but I'm going to walk it. You then hit this section of boulders, which is pretty demanding on the legs, some pretty significant steps, and this goes for 300 meters at a gradient of 30%. So this is really going to take it out of you. At the top of the boulders, there's a left turn onto this track, and then you turn right, and there's a sign to the Black Hill summit, and the gradient lessens a bit, and you've got about 350 meters distance to go to the summit. Over on this side, that next ridge over is where you're going to descend, and on this side you got some pretty good views of the city. So it definitely levels off for this last stretch, and you could jog some sections of this. Then you reach the summit of Black Hill. Here we go, and then the path levels off. So slow jog. You join Black Hill track, and there's a short dip and then a mini climb. So at the top of the little climb, you turn left onto this track, and this is the start of the true descent. And there are really 4 sections to the descent. The first is this pretty short section of coarse gravel. It's a bit too steep for me to run freely, but it's pretty easy going. More beautiful views of Adelaide. You then come to these 2, whatever they are, electricity poles, and you're into the rocky section of the descent, which is pretty technical in places. It is prime ankle turning terrain. It is very challenging in places, and I am just taking it very easy. No mountain goat impressions for me today. Safety is my primary concern. Quite a relief to get out of that rocky section, and you then drop down here, and then you turn right onto what is quite a lovely little path. So the third section of the descent is this narrow path that winds its way through the trees. There's still some bumps, but it's pretty nice running. And you got some kangaroos for company. Look at this, it's beautiful. I reckon that's my favourite section of the course. And then comes the real kicker, because you come onto this track, and the finish is down to the left, but the course takes you up to the right. Black Hill is clearly not quite high enough, and so you have to do this short, sharp out and back to get a bit more elevation. It's only 170 meters long, 35 meters of elevation. It's just annoying. Anyway, you get to the turnaround point, and then you've just got about a kilometre maybe, not quite sure how far, descent back to the finish. It's a bit steep at the start, but then quite nice running with a short, gentle incline just before the end of the lap. And this is the finish. So I got round in about 54 minutes, and yeah, felt fairly comfortable. I was walking the ups, jogging the flats, not that there are too many of those, and taking it pretty steady on the descent. But that's my 6th lap of the day, and I wouldn't really want to be going much faster than that. Now the big question, is it doable to get around the 24 laps? I think there are two big factors. One is terrain, the other is timing. With the terrain, that section of boulders on the climb is pretty demanding, but my bigger concern with the terrain is on the descent and that middle section of rocky technical terrain. Yeah, I just think in the dark, if it's wet, on tired legs, there's a high risk of people falling, having injuries, and yeah, I'd want to just encourage all the participants to go easy on that section. I think the bigger challenge is going to be timing. You know, on a traditional backyard ultra, a decent runner can get around the lap in 40-45 minutes pretty comfortably, and that leaves you a good amount of time to sit down, to rest, change any kit, and refuel. This is quite different. I mean, as you heard, it took me 55 minutes, and yeah, I wouldn't want to go much faster than that. So I think people are, you know, lap times are going to be more like 50-55 minutes on the Backyard Everest, and that just doesn't leave you much time to recover between laps. Support crews have to be really on it. A quick turnaround. So I think that will be challenging. Is it doable? Yeah, absolutely, but it will take a monumental effort. You know, the Bob Graham round that I'm attempting in a few weeks' time in the UK is widely respected as just an incredibly hard challenge. 106 kilometers, 8,200 meters of elevation in 24 hours. This is further and higher. It's about, I think, 120 kilometers and 8,800 meters of elevation in the 24 hours. So is it doable? Yeah, sure it is. Will we see someone do it this year? Hope so. We'll have to wait and see.